Powerful, 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 powerful. Gorgeous, 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 gorgeous. Intrigue, D, 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 D. And what comes to mind when I say those? Fame, fortune, Pomeranians, black turtlenecks, bidets. Well, of course, it's flashlights. Not just any flashlight, the not affiliated with the state of Prince series of fancy everyday carry flashlights from Lumintop. The Prince comes in 3 decadent shiny flavors: the stainless steel flavor, the copper flavor, like your favorite punch in the mouth, or the brass version reviewed here. The Prince is an everyday carry sized tube style flashlight that takes an 18650 battery and uses a single XML2 cool white emitter, like cooler than daylight white. The idea behind these lights is that they start out shiny and get nice, get a patina on them with use, especially the brass and copper versions. Patina means you drop it, scratch it, and your greasy hands change the finish over time. And, maybe even loan it out to an idiot or two. On the exterior of the light, you have your shiny polished brass finish and a carbon fiber sleeve going over it with some brass accents. It's a smooth light with only a little bit of knurling. It has a brass pocket clip and a stainless steel button and a smooth reflector. So let me give you the basic dimensions and see if it fits in your pocket. One thing to note about any of these lights is that these are heavier than aluminum flashlights. So take it next to my Convoy S6. Here they are, both with batteries and weight, so you can see, how they differ. Some people prefer lighter flashlights in their pants, or other things. To put the battery in, I found it's best to remove the head instead of the tail cap because the clip kind of prevents you from getting the tail cap threads lined up correctly. You can do it, but it takes longer. The positive end goes towards the head. Also, it looks like the battery tube, and for whatever it's worth, is made from copper, but you can't tell from the outside. The Prince set I received from Lumintop includes the light, an installed pocket clip, spare O-rings, and a nice leather holster, probably the nicest holster I've ever seen offered for a flashlight, stock. Then there's the spare area you can put the extra battery in on the holster. Oh yeah, and it comes with a battery, at least my set did. So let's go over the user interface first. It's a simple 3-mode light with mode memory and 15 strobes. Okay, just kidding, no strobes. Click it once to turn it on and do half presses to scroll through low, mid, high, and then back again. The light needs to stay off for about 1.5 seconds to save your mode into memory before turning it back on, which leads me to discussing the button. The button is classy with the Lumintop logo etched on it. Truly a fantastic button. Lumintop has the best buttons. But there are some quirks about it though. You need to give it a good solid press in the center and you're good. Pressing it on the edge or not squarely can cause it to sort of misclick, and you kind of have to press on it to get it back on track and press correctly. It's also there's a very brief delay after you click it before it turns on, like a split second. I'll see if I can illustrate it here. Now the button is very lightly touched even though it is a mechanical switch. Okay, so how about those modes, man? Here are 3 modes with Lumintop's figures and my tested outputs side by side. First is low. Then is mid. I gotta talk for a few extra seconds so you can see the numbers on screen. Then is high, and I will leave it at that. Cool. How about runtimes for mid and high? I used Lumintop's included protected 3400 milliamp hour cell. I did not test the light with an unprotected cell, so I can't say if it has low voltage protection or not. First is high. It does a hard step down about 2 minutes in and then stays pretty constant until about 1 hour and 30 minutes in. Then it starts a slow decline in brightness and runs pretty dim until the battery protection kicks in, a little after 4 hours and 45 minutes. Next is mid. You get about 10 hours of mostly bright, constant light. Then it begins a drop for the next 2 hours and finally cuts off at about 12 hours and 43 or 44 minutes with just a tiny amount of light coming out right before it cuts off. All right, let's do the beam shots, guys and 6% ladies. First is Prince. You can see the fancy beam pattern. It isn't a big thrower. It's more oriented for close-up stuff. Lights this size are because they don't have big reflectors. Tube-style lights are all very similar. Next up is a Nikkor MH20 GT. They're about the same size and length, but the Nikkor has a much bigger reflector, and it's better at throwing, and it's a better throwing emitter too. They're both cool white lights though, as you can tell. Next is the Astrolux. or sometimes it's called the Chronos X5. The Astrolux SC, I think, is what the other version of it is. It's a thrower too with a pretty high output. Neither the Nightcore or the Chronos are as pocketable as the Prince. They're bigger in your pocket. The Astrolux S41 comes up next, way less throwy than the Prince, but with a more neutral tint. It's a tiny pocketable light, but it has short run times because it uses a pretty tiny battery. Then we have the Olight S2 Copper. This light uses an optic and not a reflector, so it doesn't have a lot of throw either. But it looks pretty fancy like the Prince does, and I'll be doing this in a review coming up. And then finally, here's the Zebralight SC600 Mark III HI, which is a smaller and more throwy light than the Prince. It also has more modes and a more neutral tint, more throw. Anyway, cool. That's my everyday carry light choice, by the way. The Prince is a simple to operate, no frills light with lots of frills. It's sure to receive a lot of compliments from people who compliment you regularly on flashlight selection. You know those people, right? It should take on a unique patina from scratches or your finger grossness over the years, which is kind of the attraction of it. It's built pretty solidly with pretty nice materials, and it's fairly bright on high mode. I would have preferred a neutral tint offering and maybe a moonlight mode or a much lower mode. If you don't like the brass look, then there's the cool copper one, or the stainless steel that sort of looks like chrome, and that's pretty sweet, right? And remember, the light is a bit smooth in the hand, so if you get sweaty or you're out in the rain and stuff a lot, maybe this is probably not the light for you. Anyway, if you like this review, please subscribe to my channel, like this review, leave a comment. Prince was provided by Lumintop for review. Sorry, too soon?